Hello gentlemen, today we're going to break down how man coverage has gotten better over the last two patches. Now this is partly speculation by me because I don't have any concrete proof that it's better, but it just feels better. There's certain routes that are just kind of getting bagged more often, as well as an uptick in players using man coverage online. For a good stretch, we weren't really seeing any man coverage. Like it was a lot of zone with, a couple man ups occasionally. Right now, I'm seeing a lot more man coverage, and that's a pretty good indicator that man coverage has, in fact, improved. So, what we're going to do today is break down cover to man because this is more specifically the man coverage I'm talking about, the shaded down man with safety help over the top. This is the man coverage that I think is actually pretty good right now. So, we'll be showing this versus some of the more meta plays in the game right now. So, we'll talk about gun bunch out of the Philly playbook and just show you how it performs, and we'll make some adjustments out of cover 2 man to help improve our coverage. Now, before I get into it, I do want to mention that I have 3 tips going live later today on acemadden.com. One of them is going to be Chiefs gameplay from Matster. So he's going to break down his offense and he'll go through some plays that he had in that game and really explain his mindset as to why he called certain plays, put certain routes on the field, all that kind of good stuff. So if you use his offense, you're definitely going to want to check that out. C. Vasty is going to put out a tip that is defending gun double stack, which is one of the more popular formations that people will go to out of the spread playbook. Very annoying formation to deal with, and he will show you how to bag that. And then lastly, I'm going to be putting out a tip on how to attack deep out zone KO. I think that is a very important thing to know how to do this year. Well, I guess I should say right now, because a lot of people have 2 deep out zone KOs on their outside cornerbacks, and you need to know how to get chunk plays versus those. So all 3 of those tips are going live later on today. Now let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use cover 2 man out of dollar. Now you don't have to use dollar to run cover 2 man. Obviously, I just think this is the best version of it because you just have so much speed on the field. And then you also can technically run the A-gap blitz out of this. So it's just, in my opinion, the best version of cover 2 man. And we'll just go against double post. I think that's a play you're going to see online a ton. So a couple things I want to mention here. We're going to get somewhat in depth with this. I'm going to show you a few things you can do. The number one thing is if you just look at your play art, you're going to see that we have this linebacker here basically cross man onto the running back. Now, I personally don't like that. If I plan on running coverage, I'm going to flip my play. And what that's going to do is now it's this guy that is the blitzing linebacker, and this linebacker on the same side as the running back is now manned up to him. So I prefer doing that. And then I also like pinching my defensive line and crashing them down. That's going to protect you versus the run a little bit better. And then you have the option to press. I do think pressing is smart because when you run shaded down man, which cover 2 man is inherently, you are going to really kind of destroy receivers when you press them. So shaded down press, very good. So this is kind of like the basic way you can just run cover 2 man. What you're going to see is like everything is pretty much bagged. This kind of angle post does get some separation. We'll talk about that more in a second, but let's go ahead and look and see what gets open here. The tight end wheel ends up getting bagged, which is a route that you always want to take away because it's very annoying. It gets out to the flats very quickly, but this shaded down man takes him away. Our user and this linebacker take away that running back. That crosser really isn't throwable. It's really just this angled post that gets open. So again, we're just going to flip, press, pinch D-line, crash down. And your mindset with your user, in my opinion, should be to stay pretty shallow because you are effectively a quarterback spy because you're only sending 3. And if your opponent knows this and you keep spamming it, he's oftentimes going to be looking to get out of the pocket and just scramble. And it's your job to take on the quarterback. Do it again. Stay shallow. Get ready for the quarterback scramble. But as you can see, a lot of things are just getting bagged. Let's have a look at this C route on the ISO side. C route on the ISO side was actually throwable on that first step. And I'll show you that real quick. And that's something a good player is going to do. And then we'll talk about how to take that away. So I'm just going to spy this user. We'll streak this slot receiver. But a good player is going to do something like that. Now let's talk about how to take that away. Now, one thing I should mention before I show you how to take it with the C route is that you can greatly improve your cover 2 man by running mid route KO across the board, which you can actually do in MUT right now under the AP because we have a handful of guys that are discounted. So I'm going to put them on the screen right now. These guys are all 2 AP for mid route KO. So if you use all 4 of them, that's going to be 8 AP. That leaves you 1 left over, just run a Lurk Artist. So you could totally do that if you want to. Now, I think it might be overkill to have 4 of them. It might be good to like maybe keep a deep in zone KO over the top. But I just wanted to mention that because what that's going to effectively do is just close windows. So if they get some separation on a corner route, it's no big deal. Your guy's probably going to knock it out anyways, or like the sharp post. So I just wanted to mention that if you guys really want to optimize your cover 2 man, using mid route KOs, especially when they're discounted, is going to do a good job of that. Now, as for taking away the C route, it's pretty easy. We're just going to do the exact same thing. And then the new adjustment is just going to be outside third, the cornerback on the ISO side or the C route side, and then manning up that same side safety to that receiver. Now, this is going to bag the C route, but you do have a new weakness, deep middle part of the field. So, like, for instance, look at that crosser from RB. He ends up getting some separation. And that was definitely throwable after he kind of gets off the press. So, like, right here, throwable. There's no safety help to prevent that throw. So, I guess the final step to taking away a play like double post would be roll the bunch side safety to the middle part of the field. Now, this does, of course, create a new weakness, which is deep right, because if they run a corner route, you don't have deep or mid route KO or whatever the case may be, they can throw that. But this is effectively going to bag double post. Nothing's really open. Now, if you run that shell and you're worried about a corner route, you can run over there with your user and take away corner routes yourself. But that, of course, opens up a new weakness, which is the quarterback scrambling. So no matter what you do, there is going to be like one thing that they can do. So please keep that in mind. But yeah, this is a really effective way of taking away double post, and it's going to be good versus other plays out of bunch as well. So before I move on and show you a couple different things, I do want to talk about one last adjustment that you can do versus bunch, and that's using a match third. So if you go to coaching adjustments, go to the very bottom, put your zone coverage on match. That is going to help out with an adjustment we make. So last time we'll go over double post. We will show other plays in a second. So do the exact same thing. Flip your play, pinch D-line, crash him down, user this guy. Now what you can do is instead of manning up that safety, you can just leave this third here and then maybe put him on a middle third, and you can run it like this. Now, if the ISO receiver goes on a drag or whatever, he is going to be open. But if he goes on like the C route, you're going to see what happens is he just gets jammed to hell and he gets completely bagged. So that is an option you can do if you don't want to man up that safety to that ISO receiver. You just kind of want to take him away with one player. You can do that. If you're totally cool with the ISO receiver running a drag, you can just be ready for it with your user. And everything else is effectively going to be taken away anyways. So that is the final adjustment that I have for you versus double post. Okay, so now what we're going to do is talk about corner routes, because I think that's the other piece of the equation. You have to know how to defend corner routes. So cover 2 man, we'll just use curl flat for the demonstration. Set up your defense the same way we've been doing it. Flip your play. Let's go ahead and move this guy back a little bit. And we'll just run it like this. So remember, cover 2 man is a shade down, shade inside defense stock. Like that is the shading it comes with. So let's have a look at how it does versus an out-breaking route, like a corner route. As you can see, he gets wide open. Jalen Hurts, fantastic throw by him. But let's do it again and see how it works. Let's go ahead and spy. And just run kind of the same concept here. So as you can see, quite a bit of separation. Even a mid-route KO is not going to break that up. So there's a couple things you can do to counteract these corner routes. The first is just to individually shade the guy you think's on a corner route and shade him outside. So that's what I prefer doing instead of just shading out my entire defense. So I would do wire triangle, A or X for individual. You can see that on the bottom left. Select the receiver icon that you want to individually shade. In this case, it's the point receiver which is RB. And then you're going to shade him, I guess, to the right because there's no shade outside. Basically, what you're doing is shading to the sideline of that player. So the sideline is on the right, or I guess the close sideline. So shade right. He is now going to play the outside leverage. Now, let me be very clear here. This is not going to guaranteed bag corner routes. It just will help in certain cases. If you look at the instant replay, we kind of got a gap there, but the corner route was going to get bagged. As you can see, keeps that outside leverage. So let's do it again. Let's go ahead and spy this guy now. And that's why I said dollar is really good. You can A-gap with these blitzing linebackers. So, okay, we're shaded outside on that receiver now. Let's have a look. And now he's pretty much completely bagged. That's not throwable. If you have mid-route KO, that's going to be a pick or a breakup, either one. So that is one way you can take away corner routes, and I'm going to show you one more way. One thing that I want to mention is that if you want me to do a full breakdown of how to attack cover 2 man, drop a like. Let's get the video to 200 likes, and I will do just that. Because if I'm being honest, if you're getting bagged by cover 2 man, it's very frustrating. And I will say it's not because cover 2 man is overpowered. It's because a lot of people don't understand how to attack it. And I think it's the same this year. Now, it does get a little bit more complicated with mid-route KO, but I will still show you my favorite concepts of how to attack cover 2 man. And the final thing I want to show you in this video is utilizing your packages to get different adjustments. So if you go to this part of the menu, go to dollar, and then if you look right underneath, you'll see packages. Right stick to the right once. That's going to take you to free safety sub, and you have gained different adjustments with your safeties. So we just talked about corner routes. So we'll do the same setup over here. Okay. Now, if we go ahead and change our safety, so double tap Y, secondary menu, hit A. Now, if you look in the bottom left, we have different adjustments. So we've gone over this before. Other content creators have probably shown you as well. But these outside thirds are insane because if you have deep out zone KO, especially on these, they are going to destroy anything that goes deep right. So let's go ahead and look at outside third right, right stick to the left. And now this, you don't even have to run over or shade your coverage. You can literally just let him do his thing. And then you can do like maybe the match third and do something like this, right? So now you don't have to worry about corner routes over there. Let's have a look. See how the corner route gains a ton of separation, but it just doesn't matter because we have safety help over there on that corner outside. So have a look. Corner gets a ton of separation. It's like 5 yards. But he cannot throw that, especially if he has deep out zone KO. He's going to break on that and pick it every single time. So that is the final thing I wanted to show you, that you can utilize these outside thirds from your safeties to kind of like take away parts of the field that you either don't want to run out to or you don't want to do any kind of shading. It's just going to play things a little bit better. And if you run deep out zone KO on your safeties, those are typically the zones you want them on because it's guaranteed going to activate on anything that goes 20 plus yards outside of the numbers. Anyways, that's going to be it for the breakdown. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to drop a like. If we get to 200 likes, I will show you how to attack cover 2 man because I know it's a very frustrating defense to go against and you will definitely need some concepts on how to attack it. So drop that like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and then like I said, 3 new tips going live later on acemadden.com. If you're not a member, make sure to become a member. Use code ACE for 15% off at checkout. You'll gain access to every single scheme that we have on the site. And then if you become a pro member, you'll gain access to those tips, as well as our private Discord server as well that you can ask any questions in. So check that out. I'll see you guys later.